She's going to be like co-teaching with me by the end. And we'll put her on the spot a little bit later this week to have her actually tell us a little bit more. Okay, so before we get back to Angels in the Snow, because it's been a hot minute since we caught up with what Shai was doing, I want to explain a little bit about English 9 honors, okay? In English 9, by midterm of first trimester, you have an opportunity to apply for honors status, to take this class as an honors credit, okay? That doesn't change a whole lot, except on your high school transcript, you'll have an honors distinction next to English 9, but otherwise you're not going to go to another class. All of it's done in here. Now with that, you have some additional work, like appropriate for a student who's taking on an honors level challenge. For instance, when you are assigned reading, you are assigned the most sophisticated reading text. Sometimes we in class will read a shortened version of something an honors student will read the entirety of. For writing, you have, you'll be responding to the most sophisticated, the most challenging of the writing prompts. You may also be graded with some additional grading criteria in mind that would be appropriate for an English 9 honors student. For speaking, like in discussion, sometimes honors students would be discussing material with other honors students. Other times in large group, be seen as a discussion leader, sometimes in preparing stuff, other times in working to hone your skills by what you bring to the table. And then lastly, the last component is a reflection component that would ask an honors student to think critically and reflectively about what we've covered over each trimester. And with that, you will be coming up with and showcasing your work in a portfolio that then responds to questions about like how can you in fact certify that you learned everything that you were supposed to? What were your major ways that you know that you were in fact growing? Okay, so with that, I've got some more information. It's also accessible from the link here, and I'll make an announcement on Canvas about it as well, so you can access it whenever you need to. But the declaration form to declare that you are in fact interested in English 9 is here, okay? But you can also print it off the computer as well. What we're looking for is that students choosing to enroll in English 9 honors must declare their enrollment by October 6th. So we have some time. That'll be toward the end of next week, okay, just after midterm. In order to enroll, you must submit a letter of intent, okay, thinking about how do business form letters look, okay. A letter of intent to the English department. It's not only me that decides who makes honors, okay. All 13 of us come together and decide if you have on paper what it takes. The letter of intent should be attached to this form after you've printed it out, because this form requires that you have a parent or guardian signature. You need to discuss the decision with me and get my endorsement so that I can go into that meeting saying, yes, Ilario and I have talked about this. He would be a great candidate. I'm seeing that he's turning work in on time. I'm seeing that he's following directions. I'm seeing that he has not only interest, actually not only talent, but interest in English language arts material, and that to me says more rather than like, you're not necessarily talented in everything, but if you got an interest for it and you're up for the challenge, that's what matters to me. Lastly, you need to discuss this decision with your parents or guardians to get their endorsement as well. So we've got a helpful link in terms of how to fashion your letter. And your letter should basically respond to two things. First, you should introduce yourself and explain why you want to take English 9 honors. You should avoid, because I think I love.
Because I'll make English great again.
What's that?
Or like put because I'll make English great again.
Well, that too. Secondly, you should describe your thoughts or perceptions about what characterizes a student in honors. Like, what does it take according to you, and how you plan to live up to that ideal? Okay. So I've got a sign here. Your parents have to sign as well. And then here's some other benefits. If you take a 9H, you have the potential to earn 4 full years of honors or AP credit by the time you're eligible for AP in junior and senior year. The portfolio lets you practice the kind of metacognition that you'll need for other AP and honors courses. And the big difference, choosing challenging and sophisticated text, showing sophistication in thinking, reading, and writing, participation in a mature way, and then you keep your own independent list of the free reading that you do. Okay, so I am going to read this form. I'll put it up in the basket so that anybody interested can take one. Not mandatory, okay? It's an option, but if you're motivated by the idea that you are an honors student and you're up for honors level challenge, then it could be just the thing for you. Okay, any questions about that? All right, so October 6th for anybody who's interested in doing that. That's what you're looking for, okay? All right, so Angels in the Snow. When we left off,
You don't have, I know there's already those, but you don't have any spare copies to borrow.
actually.
Do right here.
She can use
Yes, I think so. We were on page 68. Okay? Right at breaking point, you guys. Trevor, Nick, will you pass this to Trevor, and then Trevor can pass this back to Miss Miller? And so just make sure I get that back. All right, so what was the big, we're on page 68. And what was the big, something's just happened that may change things a little bit. And it's a very subtle thing. You may not have noticed. But it wasn't until a few hours later that I'm looking right where we left off on page 68.
I discovered Haley had left a towel in Matthew's bag in Mike's master bedroom.
Okay. Haley had left her stuff in Mike's apartment, in the apartment Shai's staying in. Okay. We might be able to infer some things based on that decision. Breaking point. I didn't go up to Haley's for dinner that night. Didn't call home either. I ate the rest of Mike's chocolate bar and drank a plastic cup full of vodka and played music in the bathroom. And then I did something kind of weird, I guess. I fell asleep in the bathtub. I don't even know why. It was not like I passed out or anything. I just didn't feel like going to the living room or the spare bedroom. So I lay Mike's guitar out on the bathroom floor and climbed into the tub and slid down so that I could rest my head against the lip of it. And I closed my eyes and thought about my life. Back home, I had known exactly who I was. But out here, in New York, I didn't have a clue. Everything seemed to be spinning out of control, and I was brutally hungry now. It felt like someone was wringing my insides out like a washcloth. All I wanted to do was to have one of those deep talks me and my mom used to have, but I couldn't. When I woke up, I had a slight hangover, and Olive was sitting on the toilet staring at me. I had this intense feeling of shame because of the cat. Seriously, I didn't want her to see me this way. Sleeping in a bathtub. You know how they say animals can sense emotional shit way beyond what humans are capable of? I wondered what Olive was sensing about me as she sat there staring. Or maybe I didn't want to know. Just as I was climbing out of the tub, I heard Haley knocking again. I pulled on my beanie and rushed to the front door. Before I opened it, though, I had a moment of panic. And clothes. I was wearing the same jeans and shirt she'd seen me in the day before. It's not like I could pretend I wasn't home. I swung open the door saying, I'm the one who got ketchup all over myself today. I had to change back into the clothes from yesterday. Haley was standing there with more than a change of clothes this time. She had a plate of muffins, too. I baked these this morning, she said, ignoring my ketchup lie. And I need them out of my house so I don't, eat every single one in the next 15 minutes. I said, feeling another strange surge of emotion. Instead of handing me the plate, she pushed past and went into the kitchen. They're banana nuts, by the way. I'll stick them in the fridge so Olive doesn't. No, wait! I shouted, but it was too late. Haley froze, staring into Mike's empty fridge. It took a while before she turned around, wearing a confused expression. There's nothing in here. My heart sank. She set the plate of muffins on the shelf and closed the fridge and turned her attention toward the empty cupboards. I didn't even try to stop her this time, just watched her open and close all the doors. Why'd you lie to me? She asked in a hurt voice. I tried to laugh it off. Why do you act? I didn't lie. You said Mike and Janice left you groceries. They did, I said, trying to maintain my smile. I just went through them already. Pretty stupid, right? It's not even Christmas until tomorrow. Guess I'll go pick up a few things at the corner bodega. Haley went to the trash can by the sink and lifted the lid. There's nothing in the trash, Shy. I leaned against the wall and didn't say anything. I'm gonna take a shower. She pointed toward the fridge. And then we're gonna talk. About what? Everything, Haley answered. In the meantime, eat the muffins. Then she turned and headed off toward the master bedroom. As soon as I heard the door click shut behind her, I went to the fridge and stared at the plate of muffins. I peeled back the cellophane she used to cover them and took out one and smelled it. They were still warm. Saliva pooled around my tongue. My nutrient-starved brain felt swollen and slow. I needed to eat badly, but I couldn't. Not with Haley still in the apartment. She couldn't know how hungry I was, because if she did, she'd know how different our lives were. And she'd probably stop coming down here to use the shower. I put the muffin back and closed the fridge and went to the couch and pretended to read. Out of the bathroom, this time, hair damp. Face freshly made up, she went directly to the kitchen and opened the fridge. What's wrong with you? She said on her way back into Mike's living room. Seriously, Shy. Nothing's wrong with me, I answered in an even tone. She stared at me for several long seconds. Then she threw her hands in the air and let herself out the front door. Once I was sure she wasn't going to come barging back in, I flung open the fridge door and took out the plate of muffins and sat on the floor and shoved the entire first one into my mouth. And I chewed, and I chewed, and I chewed. And the next one, getting ready to shove that one into my mouth too. And I began to sob. I don't even know why. But it was the first time I'd felt tears on my cheeks since the day of my mom's funeral. And it felt surprisingly good. They felt alive. Mostly because they reminded me of my mom, I think. And because it felt so amazing to fill my stomach. I stayed there on the floor like that for a long, long time, eating and crying, crying and eating, trying not to think about anything but Haley's muffins. What would it be like? Maybe I'm more like my old man than I realize. Remember how I said my sis has sometimes to drag him to the dinner table? That's pretty much what Haley had to do for me tonight. She came down around 7, but she wasn't looking to use the shower. She grabbed me by the wrist without saying a word and led me out of Mike's place onto the elevator, then into her amazing spelling apartment, where she sat me down at her dining room table. Stay, she said, like I was some kind of German shepherd. Then she marched into the kitchen and pulled open her oven door. I sat there looking at my hands, thinking about back home. Christmas Eve is always better than Christmas for us Espinosas. All the cousins and aunties and uncles show up at my grandma's, and the whole place smells like tortillas and chili colorado. And Auntie Cecilia brings in heaping plates of sweet tamales, and my Uncle Guillermo sneaks us hits of the Patron bottle. He always dresses up in Christmas wrapping paper. A little present for my own self, they say. In the living room, all the men tell stories about work, while the women in the kitchen tell stories about the men. And the whole apartment is filled with nonstop laughter, even when one of the little ones knocks something over, a glass frame or a crystal figurine. We all just laugh and laugh and laugh. Even Grandma, as she sweeps the glass shards into her ancient metal dustpan. Oh man, I miss that shit so much. I miss them. There's no way I'm going to let you starve down there on Christmas Eve, Haley said, walking back into the dining room with a plate full of food. She set it down in front of me. I wasn't starving, I said, staring at her beautiful dinner. She lowered her eyes at me. Yes, you were shy. Okay, maybe a little. Why was she doing all of this for me, I wondered. Because I'd loaned her my shower? If that was it, she was definitely getting the wrong end of the deal. All I had to do was let her in the front door. Judging by what was on my plate, she busted her ass in the kitchen. She grilled some sort of white fish and made roasted potatoes and sourdough bread and these broccoli pieces with long stems I always forget the name of. You want a Pinot Gris or a Chardonnay? She shouted from the kitchen. Are you talking about wine? I called back. She came out with a second plate of food and set it across from me. Of course I'm talking about wine. What else would I be talking about? When it comes to that stuff, I told her, squirming in my chair, you're going to have to dumb it down a little. All I know is red or white. She stood there staring at me. Well, they're both white. White goes with fish. So that settles it then, I said. We'll go with the white. I know, but forget it. She went back into the kitchen and came back with a bottle of wine. She poured our glasses full. Cheers, she said, holding up her glass. Salute, I said, the way my old man always does. We clinked glasses. After a half dozen muffins, I wolfed on for breakfast. That's right, I ate every last one of those bastards. I was no longer desperate. But my entire body came alive when I started putting down Haley's perfectly grilled fish. This was real food with real nutritional value. I felt like I was turning from a floppy stuffed bear into an actual human being. The wine wasn't hurting either, and Haley was quick to refill our glasses. Oh, and don't think you're getting off the hook, she said. What do you mean? The truth game, she said. Just because I didn't take a shower tonight doesn't mean you're not sharing. This dinner's amazing, I said, pointing at my half-empty plate. It's just baked cod. Haley paused for a few seconds before adding, but thank you. I need to be better at taking compliments. You go first this time. I stabbed another piece of long-stemmed broccoli. I don't know why, but I was getting excited to hear what Haley had to share. Maybe I was kind of getting into her corny thing. Okay. Haley took a sip of wine and then just sat there, holding her glass like she was thinking. Sometimes I worry about myself, I mean. I don't have a thing. I got good grades all through high school, right? strike that. I got very good grades. I was valedictorian. And I scored high on my SATs. And I had all the extracurriculars my counselor said I should have for college applications. I volunteered at a mental health clinic during sophomore year, but I only did that because I knew it would look good. Messed up, right? It was at that moment that I realized how truly beautiful Haley was. She had a perfect complexion and high cheekbones, and there were these cute little freckles surrounding her nose. But I don't just mean physically. A lot of girls look good to me. I have what you might call a flexible aesthetic. But there was something about Haley that went beyond looks. Like how she had these dimples whenever she grinned. And when she said something self-effacing, she'd shrug her shoulders a little and tilt her head and glance at her feet. And sometimes when her light brown eyes locked on my dark brown ones, it was like she was reaching a hand all the way into my chest. Like she was digging around in there for the most honest thing she could find. It made me want to quit hiding, even though I'd be taking the chance of her not liking what she'd discovered. The problem is, Haley went on, I never understood why I was doing anything, other than I knew it was expected. She refilled both our glasses again. And I'm not even saying my parents pushed me or my counselors at school. It was me. I wanted to excel, but every decision I made through high school was based on how I thought it might make me look on paper. Never once stopped to think about what I actually liked to do. That's kind of sad, don't you think? More like honest. Usually I like to keep quiet. I like to listen, but the wine was just reaching into my head and I felt oddly comfortable, so I let myself talk. Here's a question, I told her. Would you rather be great at something you like or just okay at something you love? Jesus, I don't know, Haley said. That's hard. What about you? Sounds like this is coming from a personal place. I stuck my silverware on an empty plate and leaned back with my wine glass. I felt like I was in a movie or something. One about rich British people, like the show Haley had mentioned before. Talking all deep in a beautiful New York apartment, swirling damn wine in an actual wine glass. The only other time I'd have wine, me and Jessica drank it out of shot glasses because that's all we could find at her stepdad's place. The one thing I know I love, I said besides my family, is music, guitar. But I also know I'm not that good at it. You play guitar sometimes, don't you? Me? No way, not at Mike's. I'm just talking at my own place. Stop lying. Okay, maybe I mess around a little, not for real though. You knew it, Haley said. At first I thought it was the radio, which must mean you're pretty good. I shook my head, embarrassed. Anyways, let's just move on. Haley laughed. Looks like I'm not the only one who could be better at taking compliments. After a short stretch of silence, one that didn't feel that awkward, I said, I guess I don't really know what I want to do either. Sometimes I feel like a shook up bottle of soda. Like I have all this passion that wants to explode, but I don't know where to aim it yet. Is that kind of what you mean? Exactly. And sometimes I get worried I'll never know where to aim it. Haley emptied the rest of the wine bottle into our glasses, but there were only a few drops left, so she got up and opened a second one. We talked for hours after dinner. When the second bottle of wine was gone, I raced downstairs to grab Mike's bottle of vodka. When I came back, Haley fixed us box of cranberries and we sat on the couch in the living room and we talked and talked and talked. Haley told me what it was like growing up in Oregon, and I told her about life near the Mexican border. Haley described what she'd be doing back home right now. Dinner at a fancy restaurant with her mom, dad, and little sister, followed by each of them opening one gift by the fire. And I told her about Christmas Eve at my grandma's. By midnight, I was officially drunk. And as much as I liked talking to Haley, I also wondered what it would be like to kiss Haley. So I started down a very different road. Hey, Haley, I said. Hey, Shy. Maybe it's my turn to make up the rules. Uh-oh. Haley looked away from me, sensing where I was going. This isn't my game anymore, though. This is just two people talking. Please tell me you know the difference. I know, I said. But I just maybe sort of What? I wonder how it would feel to, like, hold your hand. That's all. He's like, so sweet. Oh. La, 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 la. Sorry, I lost
You
the
better
place.
lost the place. Go to the quick.
That's okay. That's okay, Keith. That was cute. Like if we were on an actual date. Haley forced a laugh. We wouldn't be on an actual date though, because I have a boyfriend back home. Remember? Oh shit! The patient guy. I almost forgot about him. It was true.
I forgot about him.
I'd gotten so caught up in the moment, I completely forgot about the world outside of the apartment complex. I picked up my wine glass again and sipped a little more vodka cranberry. That's when Haley did something that surprised me. She set down her glass, then took my glass out of my hand and set it down too. But it's not like you're talking about getting married, right?
Oh.
You're just talking about holding hands, hypothetically. I swallowed hard to test the feel, which I suppose is pretty harmless in the grand scheme of things. Though, I'll be honest, I touched Haley's bare ankle. A small part of me might also be talking about marrying you. She slapped my hand away. See, this is why I should have never taken a shower down there. Showers can lead to hand holding, which can lead to people are better off growing Christmas dreads. Haley smoothed her pretty hair behind her ears and reached for my hand. It was everything I wanted, but at the same time, it was scary as shit too, because I knew myself. I felt the unbalanced thing to the point where I couldn't even think straight. Haley's eyes locked inside mine, her hand in my hand, which was making my whole arm tingle, my whole body. It's a pretty good fit, I managed to say. She made it so our fingers were linked, and for a few seconds we just looked at each other. I glanced at her lips before forcing myself back to her eyes. Her face grew more serious, and she cleared her throat softly. I have to admit something. It's kind of bad. Uh-oh, I said, nervous she was going to pull the plug. I didn't really procrastinate. I bought my plane ticket home weeks ago. In my drunken state, it took me a few seconds to realize what she was saying. She'd chosen not to go home, which meant she was avoiding something, possibly someone. My heart pounded inside the inside of my chest. I just never went to the airport, she said. Why? Because I'm a coward. She scooted a little closer to me on the couch. Do you think less of me now? Why would I said. She shrugged. What are you thinking then? I swallowed and stared at my drink for a couple of seconds. When I looked back up at her, I said, I'm thinking about what it would be like to kiss your cheek. Haley breathed deeply and squeezed my hand. Maybe you should find out. But when I leaned in, aiming for just inside her left ear, she turned suddenly, and I ended up kissing her on the lips instead. It was just a peck, and then I pulled back and looked at her. Both our eyes locking on each other's and our chests going in and out and in and out. Without thinking, I took her face in my hands gently as I could, and I kissed her again, longer this time, not a peck, but the real kind, and she kissed me back. She shoved me onto my back, still kissing me, her hands gripping wildly at my hair, mine slowly moving down her warm body. What are we doing? She breathed into my ear. I don't even know, I said. And then we were kissing again. I got lost in it. Her lips, her touch, me and Haley. She made me dinner, and now we were together on the couch. It didn't even seem possible, and for a few seconds my amazement pulled me out of my body. I found myself hovering up near the ceiling, watching everything unfold in awe. But then I forced myself to focus on her lips again, and the feel of her hands on her of my hands on her stomach, and I rematerialized. It was all so alive. I felt like I was breathing into the world into my lungs. In a few minutes, I flipped her onto her back and pinned her arms, and I pulled away and just stared at her, both of us breathing, wanting more. What is it? She said. I wonder more things, I told her. She closed her eyes and slowly opened them. I know you do, but how it would feel to be with you. And then she didn't answer. When she didn't answer, I lowered my face toward hers and we kissed some more, but this time I felt this surge of energy so powerful my mind slipped away completely. And I reached up and undid her blouse, one button at a time. And then I reached around her back and undid her bra clasp. That was when she stopped me. She turned her head and spun out of my grip, and immediately, everybody take a deep breath. Woo! That's when she stopped me. She turned her head and spun out of my grip and immediately started reclasping her bra and buttoning her blouse. Oh, shit. I watched her, my stomach flooding with nervous butterflies. Shit, I went too far, didn't I? Wait, she didn't answer right away. I said, Haley? She stood up and covered her face with her hands for a few seconds. When she removed them, her expression was worried. What am I doing? It was totally my fault, I said. She started to pick up our still half-full wine glasses. Then she put them back down and went to the door and pulled it open. I'm going to have to ask you to leave, Shy. I'm sorry. I apologize, Leah. I got carried away. Just please, she said, cutting me off. And she wouldn't look at me. That was maybe the worst part of all. If she'd have just looked at me, she would have known how sincerely apologetic I was and everything would be okay, but she never did. Okay. I moved through the door into the hall. I hit the elevator button and stared at my shoes, listening for her door to close behind me. Christmas Day. Haley didn't come down for a shower on Christmas morning. I waited around in the living room on the couch, next to Olive, listening for her knock, but it never came. I stared at the text of my novel, but really I was analyzing the night before from every possible angle. It always came down to the same thing. Me. I knew she had a boyfriend. Yeah, maybe the fact that she didn't fly home meant that they were on the rocks or whatever, but still, I'd taken it too far. Why'd I have to be that guy? The one who always wanted more. I didn't call home until noon because of the 3-hour time difference. I talked to my dad a little, but mostly I talked to my sis. Merry Christmas, we both told each other. She described all the food that she was making and how Pops had driven to Chula Vista to pick up Grandma, who had promised to bring back a big stack of tortillas. Then they were going to drive up to the cemetery with flowers. It won't be the same without you, my sis told me. Yeah. No, I'm serious. It'll be the first time I've ever gone there without you. She paused. You better not be spending today alone, Shy, because that would just be sad. Oh, hell no. A few friends are coming over and we're baking a ham and shit. It's gonna be legit. I switched the phone from one ear to the other. I still wish I was with you guys, though. By the way, Peanut's tooth is better. We can tell because he's constantly hounding us for food again, which you started. I smiled, remembering how I used to sneak Peanut my dinner scraps on the sly. We talked a little bit more about my old man, who she claimed was doing better too. And then I told her I had to go get ready for my friends. We said our goodbyes, but before she could hang up, I said, oh, and so? Yeah, stay away from dudes. I showered with the door open and put on my best shirt I'd packed for cat sitting, and even put on some of Mike's gel in my hair, trying to tame my crop. Then I just sat there with the cat and read my book, though secretly I was still listening for a knock. Snow-covered stoop. I woke up from a nap to the sound of Olive scratching at the front door. Where are you trying to go? I said, climbing off the couch. Then I saw it. A small card on the ground just inside the door. My name, written in neat girl handwriting. I picked it up and looked through the peephole. Nobody there. I tore open the envelope. A skinny Santa was on the front of the card, waving from behind the wheel of a hybrid convertible. The handwritten note inside said, leftover lasagna from the night you stood me up. Heated microwave for 2 or 3 minutes. Also, Merry Christmas. I opened the door and found a large plate covered in tinfoil. She didn't hate me. The second I reached down for it, though, I'll squirt it out into the hall. Hey, man! I set down the plate and lunged for her, but she took off up the stairs. The door slammed behind me as I took the stairs 2 at a time to Haley's floor. Olive was nowhere to be found. Great, I thought. My one damn job. And that will be where we will leave
No.
it today.
This was just
Don't be like that.
We will be finishing it tomorrow in class
Aw.
and moving on with what's next. So, ladies and gentlemen, for advisory, a number of you got notes from Mr. Peterson. If you've got a counseling meeting, you've got a pass for today, and that will be in the little theater, I think. Is that right? Okay. If anybody else needs to get their pass signed because you're going to another teacher, let me know. I'll sign
Good
it.
afternoon, Iowa City High School. It's Monday, September 25th, 2017. You did a wonderful day. I'll glad everybody has got for you today. First of all, we hope you enjoy homecoming.
Hey, guys,
And I want to say,
you don't have to listen, but I have to listen.
Came up there Saturday night to make that possible. Thank you too. We had a great festival homecoming and a big little hockey game on Friday. What a success it was. All right, and now for the time, and the first one is important.